Well, hi there and welcome along to What's the Word in association with Ladbrokes. I'm Tom Malone here for a Derby special, joined by Brendan Duke. You excited?
I'm very excited. I'm just glad to be asked back after last week. My Derby predictions last week were abysmal.
Okay. We rang around, we couldn't get anyone.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are at Epsom. What about you, James? You well?
Looking forward to the weekend of racing now.
Good stuff. Looking forward to your weekend racing. You at Epsom this weekend?
I can't wait, yeah. Love the Derby. Possibly one of my favourite flat races of the whole season.
And where will you be?
I will be in Navan, working at my home track.
Oh, right, okay.
I have a lovely weekend ahead. I'm in Navan Saturday, Listowel Sunday and Listowel Monday. It's great to be alive.
Brilliant. Well, you're a nice mileage train, you know?
Yeah.
Right, let's look ahead to the Derby. This is a brilliant renewal, first and foremost. Before that, though, your favourite Derby, Dukey?
Yes, I was having a think about this when you said to me. I think new approach.
Yeah?
Because there was a lot going on there. Of course, he was a brilliant 2-year-old, did the National Stakes Dewhurst double. Then he got beaten 2 guineas, but beaten by top-class horse, Henry the Navigator. Then there was a bit of a willy won't which I don't think, Bulger, like they're not earning that and standing in the stable. He likes to run the horses. I was fairly sure he'd run them. But it was just a 2-week gap. It was a huge ask. And then for some reason, I particularly remember horses who run too free in races and still win, like Trev or See the Stars in the Arc or him in the Derby. You're just there. This project is Donald Duck till halfway, and he just kept on finding.
Yeah,
Because he's just a proper horse. And then he won 2 Champion Stakes.
Yeah, he's top class. Was that Galileo's first Derby winner as well? Pretty sure, because remember Jim had all those Galileos at the time. Yeah. He sent every mare he had to Galileo for while he could. Before it was still reasonable, I think. But brilliant from New Approach. What about you, James?
Yeah, I was a fan of New Approach as well, but I have to give an honourable mention to Wings of Eagles.
Wings of who?
Wings of Eagles back in 2017. There was a story behind it.
Yeah, good thing you're reminded because everyone had forgotten.
A very shrewd friend of mine, I'll say, told me to get on this weeks before at 28-1. And he started at 40-1 on the day, so that'll show he knows. But I just thought it was a great story, kind of the outsider of O'Brien's yard, flying from nowhere under Pádraig Beggy, and he nearly looked a bit embarrassed to win the race in the end. But yeah,
there was shades of Nico de Boinville on Verdana Blue, wasn't there? And his expression after that. But what about you?
That actually happened.
What about you?
Look, I'm going to keep it simple. I thought we'd all have the same answer. Best Derby I've ever seen was See the Stars as Derby.
Yeah, well, that's the right answer.
Yeah, with a proper top-class coat like Rip Van Winkle. You got Flame and Glory in there, who I think went off favourite on the day, actually.
Yeah, the two, I actually watched this the other day. The 2 Ballyjoel horses were backed really strongly on the off. And
it looked everything, even they went a proper pace. There was no real hard luck stories. Everything about the race suggested to me that See the Stars had to be exceptional to win it. He obviously proved himself to be exceptional. And to me, that was probably the best Derby I'll ever see.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you, Jenna. There you go. How about that?
I thought we'd all agree.
Yeah, so did I, to be perfectly honest. All right, let's move on to this year's renewal then at 4:30 on Saturday. James, Sir Dragonet, surely top in the marketing. How's the rest of it look?
He's pretty popular, Sir Dragonet, isn't at 11-4. Now, Broome has been the one that they've been backing lately, though, 4-1 about that. Telecaster, 11-2. Anthony Van Dyke, 6-1. Bangkok at 9-1 with Japan, and it's 11-1 Mad Moon. 16s are bigger about the rest.
So Dragonet is the odd one out. Why is he the odd one out? Do you know?
Because he wasn't entered in the race initially?
Aside from that.
So I got it right?
No, there's another odd one out.
He didn't run as a 2-year-old?
On pedigree.
Oh, I don't know.
He's the only horse in the race who is not a son or grandson of Galileo.
On the sire side. So Dragonet, I think, is dating his second dam somewhere. But yeah, from a direct sire relation with Galileo is everything.
Wow.
6 sons, 5 sons, 4 grandsons, and a great-grandson. Yeah, Mad Moon, I think, is a great-grandson because he's by New Approach. He's by Dawn Approach, is by New Approach by Galileo.
Wow.
So incredible influence from 2001 with Galileo coming through New Approach, obviously, as well. But unbelievable legacy from 2001. But who wins it, Dukey?
Well, I think that Telecaster will win. I think he should be favourite.
So do I.
The betting looks all wrong to me. I still think they'll get closer to the off. Although my prediction last week, it looks like I'm going to lose a couple of drinks. But I thought he was exceptional in the Dante. He just looks one of these horses who can go a gallop that few horses can endure. He just grinds and grinds and grinds. The extra 2 furlongs should be right up the street. I don't think he'll have any problem with track position because I think that Ballydoyle will just send Sovereign up the road. The rest of them all have a conceivable chance, so I think they'll run them as is.
Are you in any way concerned about his draw?
Well, not particularly because of the way he can just take a position he wants. I think it will only be himself and Sovereign for the lead. So
prominent early.
I think Oisin Murphy can jump out and come across.
Do you not think that's just one of them kind of pure coincidence stats? I know stats are stats, but there's no way that stall 2 can be so much different to 3, 1 or 4. Like, it can't be.
Well, it's 1 and 2 are really terrible, isn't it?
I know, I think it's fine. For somebody like him, I think it's a bonus.
Right. Yeah, I'd rather be drawn high just because they go right initially.
I know they do, yeah.
But I'm not that worried about it.
But I think I could potentially see him on the fence coming down the hill.
Yeah, he should be.
So I think he might be. I think he'll sit first or second. Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting your points there.
Not at all. No. I'm very encouraged because last week when I predicted that he wouldn't run in the race, it was based on Hughie Morrison's comments.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, we can infer from that the horse is bombing at home. And
I would think so.
And I just think he could be a really, really top class horse.
Are you with Telecaster?
I am with Telecaster, and I just think it's interesting. Every time Oisin Murphy's been interviewed, and he seems to be everywhere with Matt Chapman. It's like they literally go everywhere together. He'd be at Windsor on a Monday night, and the proper chats. And it's very interesting the way he talks about this horse. It's like he's just begging to say more, but he's just biting his tongue because he knows, no, he has to go and prove himself first. And I just get the impression he thinks he's potentially an absolute superstar. I watched the Dante again during the week, and while it proved afterwards that Oisin got the sectional spot on and the rest of them didn't, visually sometimes you have to try and believe your eyes. And I just thought at certain stages of the race, he looked by far the best horse in the race. And to be able to go again was a sign, I thought, of a real champion. There's no way they'd be putting their hands in their pockets to fork out that money. The horse is not owned by Coolmore, and I think they think he's a superstar. I think Epsom is going to be tailor-made for him because I think he'll sit handy and he'll just keep grinding and upping the tempo. I think he's the most likely winner, and I think he should be favoured. Of the Ballydoyle team, I think the one that's overpriced is Japan.
Japan? Yeah.
I do, yeah. I know Wayne Lorden was pretty keen to ride him. He's a big race jockey that's proven himself time and time again. I thought he was exceptional on Hermosa at Newmarket. I think with Japan, he was the one. I did a lot of previews that week for Derby trials, and I spoke to Aidan a couple of times. And out of all the horses that ran in all the Derby trials, he was keen for me to say how much Japan needed to run in the pre-race quotes. It seemed to me that the horse wasn't even near ready. Missed a week about 6 weeks ago. And I'd say he'll be the one that will come on the most. Now, he has the most to do to get to that level. But
he ran in...
Japan ran the Dante.
In the Dante, yeah. He was fourth behind
He was
Telecaster.
fourth. He did run on again. He got a second wind. And like all winter, I think they thought Japan was their Derby horse. He obviously had a setback, but he's double the price he was all winter now. Yeah. And I just think he's the one forgotten horse in the race that could just up his game a little bit. So it would be Japan each way and Telecaster.
If you were to judge these things by Donncha O'Brien's Instagram feed, which is obviously a clear barometer of how things were then, there was a lot of Japan pictures over the course of the winter, and now he's pushed towards more broom content. But you know, it's a highly scientific method. But you know,
I've heard worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
I spoke to Joseph O'Brien.
It's also a crude link to say I think broom is a really good chance.
Well, I spoke to Joseph last night at Fairy House, and I said if you could ride any in the race, and without hesitation, he said Sir Dragonite.
Okie doke. In fairness, he's ridden.
I know he's favourite.
So yeah, but Sir Dragonite on Sir Dragonite as favourite. Do you think the race in Chester fell into his lap a little bit, just in the way, not it fell into his lap, but the way it was run? He was allowed roll early, find his rhythm, find a little bit of time, hunt around. Obviously, he was a clear winner from about half a mile out, but just that, you know, the way.
I think Sir Dragonite will either win or not finish in the first 6. Do you know what I mean? I think he's the type of horse that I can't see him finishing second or third. I can't see him just not being good enough. I can see him either being exceptional or just the whole thing getting to him. I think it'll be either one of those two scenarios. I thought he was taken off his feet a little bit in the early stages. Yeah, you don't want to get too far behind here. Like, you know, Telecaster is not going to come back, so he's going to need, like, potentially he could be 10 to 15 lengths off Telecaster in the early part of the race, and that's too much around Epsom, I think. He could be very good, though. We're guessing, but he could be very good.
Yeah. Your thoughts? Is it just a price thing for you on Sir Dragonite, Dookie, or is it inexperience? Or
well, inexperience, but as you know, I'm particularly an action junkie.
Yes,
his action.
He has quite a high knee action.
He's a really crabby.
First time I've heard that expression. An action junkie.
An action junkie.
I like it.
So on and off track. Anyway, go on.
So he's not. He doesn't move like a horse that's going to want quick ground to me. And the inexperience is a big factor as well. I know it's not as big a field as we can get, but he's still going to have to navigate his way past 13 opponents off for their lives. So it's going to be a different experience for him.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's move on to the dash. Quite a different race. It couldn't be any more different, really, could it? But the fastest 5 furlongs in racing. How do they bet here, James?
Hatik has the lead in the market now at 9-2. They go Copper Knight at 9-1, Duke of Frenzy 9-1, Dark Shot at 9-1, 12-1 Mutmere with Ibagum and Harome, and a whole host of them are on 14-1 or bigger.
Okay, 4-1 Hatik. You were there at the Curragh last week, Juki, when you saw this fella. Is he ticking all the right boxes for an Epsom dash?
I mean, he was just different gravy to those horses. Now, this is a lot better race, so he could get caught up by the rise in grade, but he's related to 2 top-class horses. And he's an interesting. He had 3 runs for our own boroughs, then disappeared for 2 years. So this is he's only had 7 runs in his life. He's picked up, obviously worth the money, and the last 2 performances, he's just travelled like a complete monster. He's drawn high, which is usually an advantage in this race. I really don't see this horse having any problems with lining up. I think he's a 100+ horse. He's £7 well in tomorrow, and.
You think he's a 100 blood horse, so technically you think he's 16 pounds well in there?
I think in time he will join his 2 brothers as a 100+ horse, and I wouldn't like to be laying 5-2 tomorrow.
Okay, that's pretty strong thoughts on Hatik. Go on, Jenna.
Yeah, he probably deserves to be favourite. And to be honest, I was hoping he wouldn't run the race because I fancied a horse for this race for quite a while, and it is number 11, Ibagum. Which
you're supposed to say it in a Northern England accent.
Is it? Go for it.
Ibagum.
Ibagum.
Yeah, like a Northerner. Yeah, because it's owned by trained by Tim Easterby, so I'm guessing it's a
Ibagum, Mr. Farnan, up top field.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yorkshire. Yeah,
that was quite impressive.
There you go. Well done. There has been support for the horse.
Yeah, look. The key thing is the break. He's been kind of sluggish away and just not hitting the lids. And he's going to do it someday, and he's just going to roll. And I thought when he was 4th at York 2 starts ago in the middle of May, I just thought that day I just couldn't wait for him to run the dash. He had a little pipe opener back at York last time. Again, ran better than his finishing position suggests. He's been dropped a pound to a mark of 87. Like, he started the season off 89. I thought he's ran well twice, and now he's down to 87. Tim Easterby was among the winners. I think he won the first race at Caroline on Friday. Jamie Gormley takes off £3. Drawn and stalled 14, which is fine. So, to me, he's the one that I think is potentially well handicapped in a race of this nature. I'm petrified of Hatik.
That's fair enough. So, you're going with... let Juki say it. Who's his selection?
Ibagum.
Oh, brilliant. Right, let's move on to the 235 then at Epsom. That's the Princess Elizabeth Stakes. Assume Voracious tops the market here, James.
Yeah, 13th day, Voracious, Nialetti at 3-1, Awesome Tank 5-1, Ananerium, who finished runner-up last year at 11-2, and it's 14-1 or bigger about the other runners.
Do you think Voracious can bounce back here?
I think she's too short. I like Bella Ragazza, who I thought was very impressive when it won a mile handicap at Newmarket at the back end of last year. Beat Move Swiftly and Kaysna, and I just thought this year she should progress into a kind of a proper stakes. And it's not a particularly great race when you go through it. Nialetti has been a little bit disappointing. Ananerium, never thought it would get to a mark of 106. I know on the ratings Bella Ragazza has a lot to find, but I think the race would be run to suit. There's plenty of pace there, and I just thought it was a nice bit of value.
What do you like in that one, Jiggy?
Well, I don't like Voracious. I thought she looked irresolute on comeback. I'd be very concerned about her going forward. So like David, I'll take her on at the price, and I'll take her on with Ananerium. Who was second in this race last year, has form at Goodwood as well, clearly goes well on quirky tracks. I thought she was a little bit unlucky. She was only beaten ahead by Awesome Tank and Goodwood. I think it paid to be on the pace that day, and she suffered a little bit. I think she'll turn the form around with Awesome Tank. She'll get a decent gallop to run it here tomorrow, and I thought 11-2 was more than fair.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the rest of the Saturday card then. A couple of selections elsewhere. Juki, do you like anything else on the Epsom card before
I do, yeah.
Do you have to go take out your notebook here again?
No, okay. I'll be very quick.
Okay.
I like Naeve Road in the opener at 2 o'clock. Ran in the Dante, just a real shock to the system, I thought. And they went too quick, and for a horse that needed to be prominent, he just wasn't able to go that proper Group 1 pace. I know it was Group 2, but proper Group 1 pace. Bolted up at Newmarket the time before when beating Fraser Island by 5 lengths. He won that off a mark of 96, and it's rated 105 now, but I think he's going to be one of these that's probably going to mop up kind of Group 3s and handicaps before he gets to about 110. I think a mile 2 around Epsom should be perfect.
Good
so
stuff.
drawn in Saltooth and AF Road.
That's at Epsom. Right, couple for you elsewhere. You're going all over here.
Oh,
right,
getting
135
down
at Navan, and we'll save the best for last.
Right, the 135 in Navan, Metier, I'm hoping he can get the job done here. This isn't much of a race. It's a good spot from Andrew Slattery. 1:05 maiden. He made his debut last year over a mile in Goran in a maiden that worked out pretty well. He was 33-1, but his dam actually was a 100+ mare. She was pretty useful by Master Craftsman. I mean, he's just a good sire, Master Craftsman, but a lot of his stock do stay well.
Yeah.
I just basically thought he didn't have to step up a lot here to go well on the second start.
Is that Metier, is it?
Metier is correct.
Very good. And then you're going to Musselburgh for one in the 5:30 in a ladies' race. This is why we get it.
Well, it's very interesting. Royal Cosmic. So the ground in Musselburgh is currently soft, and it's getting softer. And Royal Cosmic, while not being that well handicapped, which isn't ideal, gets Megan Nichols in a ladies' race, which we like. And the opposition are either, well, some of them are both, but they're either inconsistent or don't like soft ground.
Okay.
So I think he'll just win.
Yeah, that's a very fair analysis. Elsewhere on the Saturday cards for you, Jenno?
Yeah, I like Turnberry Island, the 2:45 in Navan. Sweated up, far too keen before its last race at Naas when it was a big drifter, which was a bit worrying. I just think he's entered in the Royal Hunt Cup, and I'd imagine he needs to win again to get into the Royal Hunt Cup. He's only rated in the low 90s, needs to win again, and it looks the ideal race. Michael Hussey takes the ride with all the jockeys away, and to me, I always thought this could be a stakes horse as a 3-year-old, so it'll need to be win this, and it's cut up badly for Premier Handicap. It's not that many runners, so another chance to Turnberry Isle.
Turnberry Isle. Right, let's move on to the Sunday action. We could kindly say it's probably not the greatest collection of cards we're ever likely to see. You will be at Listowel, so do you have a few winners for us?
Dukey is the man to start with here because he is all over a couple at Listowel.
Yeah, so start in the 220.
The floor is yours.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but Listowel is currently yielding, and there's 13 mils around you between now and the
What
start
is
of the
even
race.
yielding like at Listowel? Like, I mean, is that just ankle deep, and then it goes soft, it's knee deep, and then like heavy is up to your shoulders?
It's a good question, yielding there, but it's going to be soft anyway. The 220, interesting mate. Calanora has the best bit of form, probably on offer on debut, but she has regressed in 2 runs since, and of course she's by Casamento. And the epithet disappointing is applied to a lot of Casamento, so I wouldn't touch her with a barge pole. So you've got one here, Mairead Katie, trained by trainer du jour, Peter. It's not Peter Toomey, is it?
Paddy
Toomey. Apologies.
Two guineas placed.
Two guineas placed horse, and this filly ran 4th in a maiden in Goran. They couldn't be working out better. The 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th have all won. She handled soft ground that day, so if she handles Listowel soft ground, she should take plenty of beating here.
Actually, you tipped up one of his runners at the weekend as well, placed 3rd after a 500-day absence or something as well, didn't you? Last weekend in the Curragh. But another thing on Paddy Toomey, by the way, apparently he's changed his training method slightly, whereas before all his horses were really, really fresh and hitting it first time out. Maybe he had a kind of a breeze up type background, but now apparently he's training them quieter to maybe progress from the first run. So
I had heard the same thing.
Weight to your argument.
I heard the same thing. Very good, thank you. And the 320, I think my dad could have a winner here.
Okay.
So he has a horse called Tam.
Careful, we'll have him on.
Yeah, well,
there'll be no room for any other guests. But anyway,
he has a horse called Tam Luang, who showed a little bit of promise on his debut in Naas, but stepped up plenty to finish a close 2nd in Goran, a maiden in Goran. That wasn't the greatest maiden in the world, but he wants soft ground.
Okay.
So he's gone to the only place
right venue.
Yes, indeed. So he's found that, and there's a Weld has a horse in the race by Warfront. I don't even think that'll run when they see what happens to the ground. So he probably, in an ordinary maiden, he only has one horse to beat, Destiny Battle, and that Destiny Battle looks limited. So I think Tam Luang, I think it could be a winner for my dad. And I had one more in the 255. Check my pulse. So course form crucial in Listowel, right? Because I mean there are soft ground horses that don't handle Listowel soft ground. This is the problem with the place. It's where hope goes to die. But he ran in a maiden last year. And in fairness, the maiden form worked out really well. And he got 86. Which is a pretty lofty mark. He hasn't been able to handle that in 2 runs so far this year. The handicap has dropped him 4 pounds. Now, it's possible he hasn't trained on, but he would definitely have a class edge here based on last year's form, and he does handle the conditions.
Good stuff. Well, that's a thorough thesis on Listowel there by Jiggy. Anything else to add?
I hope officials aren't watching. Yeah, I only like one, to be honest, in the
go for it.
440. Joe Murphy is 2 in the race, got Fit for Function, who won during the week, and he's also got Bay of Scale, who I fancy. Bay of Scale was second at Sligo last time. Conor Hoban takes ride, drawn in stall 5. It renews rivalry with Honor Oak, and I think could turn around that form. The stole is perfect, the ground should be perfect, so Bay of Scale in the 440.
Good stuff. Anything for you on Sunday, James?
No, not really. I think hopefully
he's going to be celebrating an amazing derby.
Well, that's it. Hopefully.
He's going to be dreaming about Wings of Eagles.
Wings of Eagles. He's hoping Pork can run.
We should see Wings of Eagles first crop out shortly, actually, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I'd imagine we'll see a few of them out, so we'll see how he gets on as a
might be a couple of years. National Hunt Field. Right, let's move on to our best bets of the weekend then, of course. Looking forward to traditional Trixie time, I'm sure, with Brendan Duke.
Traditional Trixie, 3:45 Hatik. I will nap him. I think he'll be winning. 2:35 this Ananerium. And, of course, I will have to go with Telecaster in the Derby.
Absolutely. James?
Yeah, I've gone with 3 at Epsom, the first 3 races on Saturday. Alcamel in the opener, who's a bit expensive to follow, but I think jockey booking's decent and should go close. Ananerium in the 2:35, so me and Juki teaming up on that one. And Bye Bye Hong Kong in the 3:10, who's 3 from 6 in races and is getting nearly a stone off all the others.
And who wins the Derby?
Well, I've been saying Japan for a long time, and my geography teacher will be pretty happy, but I've gone about 12,000 kilometres over to Norway now, and I've gone each way on Norway in the Derby.
Well done. Go on.
Didn't know where you were going there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. Go on.
Naef Road, 2 o'clock Epsom. Turnberry Isle, 2:45 Navan. And Ebagum in the 3...
I think you tried the accent there, did you?
Yeah.
What the hell is that? 3:45.
3:45.
Ebagum.
Who is it?
Ebagum.
Okay.
Ebagum.
I think Broome wins the Derby. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week with more What's the Word.